Narcissus heard the leaves rustling nearby, but he did not pay any attention to the sounds. He was too busy thinking about himself. In fact, that is the only thing he ever thought about. Finally, he began to be curious. He called out, "Who is in the bushes?" Poor Echo said the only thing she could. "Bushes." Narcissus looked around, but he could not see anyone. "Come out," he called. "Come here." Then Echo called, "Come here." "Come," called Narcissus again. "Come meet me here," cried Echo, and she ran to Narcissus. She threw her arms around his neck. Narcissus was horrified. All he wanted was to be left alone to think about how wonderful he was. "Go away," he yelled. "Leave me alone. Never love me." Poor Echo could only cry out, "Love me." 42.
42쪽?
네.
Who was the ruler over all gods?
The ruler over all the gods was Zeus.
Who were the nymphs?
The nymphs were maiden goddesses of the woods, seas, and mountains.
Who was Hera?
Hera was Zeus's wife, and she was a very jealous wife.
What did Hera not want Zeus to do?
She did not want Zeus playing with the nymphs in the lovely green fields of earth.
Who did Hera meet when she went to watch Zeus and the nymphs?
A very pretty nymph called Echo suddenly stood in Hera's way.
Why did Hera forget about Zeus?
Echo was so charming that Hera forgot all about Zeus and the other nymphs.
Was Hera angry at Echo?
Yes, Hera was very angry at Echo.
What did Hera say Echo would only be able to do in the future?
She said, "In the future, you won't talk so much. You'll say only a few words each time you speak. You'll only have the last words, never the first. You'll always repeat the last words you hear."
What did Echo see in the forest?
Echo caught sight of a very handsome young man who was hunting in the forest.
What did Eros do?
He shot one of his arrows to Echo.
Right. What happened to Echo?
She fell in love with the young man.
What was his name?
His name was Narcissus.
Why didn't Narcissus pay any attention to the sounds?
He was too busy thinking about himself.
Did Narcissus often think about himself?
Yes, that is the only thing he ever thought about.
How did Narcissus feel when Echo threw her arms around his neck?
When she threw her arms around his neck, Narcissus was horrified.
What did Narcissus want?
All he wanted was to be left alone to think about how wonderful he was.
Okay. Where did Echo go?
She wandered away through the forest.
What did Narcissus find one day?
Narcissus came across a pretty little pool in the forest.
What did the water look like?
The water was still and cool. The water looked exactly like a silver mirror.
Why didn't he put his face into the water to drink?
Because he saw a beautiful face looking up at him.
What was Narcissus in love with?
Narcissus was in love with the handsome face.
What did Narcissus kiss?
She kissed only the water.
When the face disappeared, what did Narcissus cry?
He cried out, "Oh, beautiful one, where did you go? Where are you hiding? Oh, beautiful one, oh, beautiful one."
What did Echo say?
From high on the mountain came Echo's cry, "Oh, beautiful one, oh, beautiful one."
What happened when Narcissus cried?
His tears fell into the pool. The face disappeared.
What did Narcissus say?
He said, "I'll stop crying. Then I can always gaze upon your beauty."
Why was Narcissus getting thinner?
Narcissus began to get very thin, for he did not eat anything.
When Narcissus knew he would die, what did he say?
He sighed, "I love you, love you, love you."
When the nymphs visited the pool the next day, who was there?
There was no one there.
What was in the place of his body?
In its place stood a lovely flower.
What did the flower look like?
It looks like Narcissus.
Can you still hear Echo's voice in the mountains?
Yes, I can hear her.
Yes, you can.
Echo and Narcissus. The gods of ancient Greece were in many ways very different from human beings. But in some ways, they were very similar. They loved and hated. They were jealous and angry, grateful and mean. They also had mysterious powers. The ruler over all the gods was Zeus. He was usually a jolly fellow, and he liked to play with the nymphs. The nymphs were maiden goddesses of the woods, seas, and mountains. and they were very pretty. Hera was Zeus's wife, and she was a very jealous wife. She did not want Zeus playing with the nymphs in the lovely green fields of earth. She was jealous because the nymphs were so pretty, and Zeus enjoyed playing with them so much. Hera often went down to the fields on earth to catch Zeus playing with the nymphs. One day, Hera heard Zeus and the nymphs laughing and playing. She started toward the field where they were. A very pretty nymph called Echo suddenly stood in Hera's way. Echo started to chat with Hera. Echo was so charming that Hera forgot all about Zeus and the other nymphs. Then she realized that Echo had tricked her. Hera was very angry at Echo. In fact, she was furious. "You've made a fool of me," she shrieked. "I'll teach you. How dare you make a fool of the queen of the gods? In the future, you won't talk so much. You'll say only a few words each time you speak. You'll only have the last words, never the first. You'll always repeat the last words you hear. Forever afterward." Echo could only repeat the last words people said. She could never begin a conversation. One day, Echo caught sight of a very handsome young man who was hunting in the forest. Eros, the god of love, saw Echo and the handsome young man. Eros raised his bow. He shot one of his arrows. The arrow found Echo's heart. She fell in love with the young man. His name was Narcissus. Echo followed him through the forest. Narcissus heard the leaves rustling nearby, but he did not pay any attention to the sounds. He was too busy thinking about himself. In fact, that is the only thing he ever thought about. Finally, though, he began to be curious. He called out, "Who is in the bushes?" Poor Echo said the only thing she could. "Bushes." Narcissus looked around, but he could not see anyone. "Come out," he called. "Come here." Then Echo called, "Come here, come," called Narcissus again. "Come, meet me here." "Meet me here," cried Echo, and she ran to Narcissus. She threw her arms around his neck. Narcissus was horrified. All he wanted was to be left alone to think about how wonderful he was. "Go away," he yelled. "Leave me alone. Never love me." Poor Echo could only cry out, "Love me." Poor Echo. Her loved one did not love her. She wandered away through the forest. She climbed mountains and walked through valleys. Finally, she found a cave to live in. She stayed there and sorrowed for Narcissus, her love who did not love her. Meanwhile, Narcissus continued to walk through woods and fields every day, and he thought about himself. He never thought about Echo. One day, Narcissus came across a pretty little pool in the forest. The water was still and cool. Nothing disturbed its surface. The water looked exactly like a silver mirror. Narcissus had been hunting all morning. He was hot and thirsty, so he leaned over the water for a drink. He did not put his face down into the water because he saw a beautiful face looking up at him. Someone was staring up out of the water at Narcissus. How beautiful the face was. Narcissus fell in love. He had never loved anyone before, but now he was in love. Narcissus was in love with the handsome face. The face was surrounded by beautiful golden curls. The eyes that looked up from the pool were like stars. The lips were curved like Eros' bow. Narcissus leaned over to kiss those beautiful lips, but he kissed only the water. He reached down to put his arms around the beautiful person below him. All he held was an armful of water. The face was gone. He began to weep. "Oh, beautiful one," he cried out. "Where did you go? Where are you hiding? Oh, beautiful one, oh, beautiful one." From high on the mountain came echo cries. "Oh, beautiful one, oh, beautiful one." Narcissus stopped crying and gazed down into the pool. Soon he could see the handsome face in the pool again. He cried. His tears fell into the pool. The face disappeared. Narcissus stopped crying, and no more tears fell into the pool. The water was still again. Then the beautiful face appeared again. "I'll stop crying," called out Narcissus to the face. "Then I can always gaze upon your beauty." Narcissus sat beside the pool and gazed into it all day, every day. He sighed in sorrow, but he never cried. He did not want the reflection of his face to disappear. Soon Narcissus began to get very thin, for he did not eat anything. He was too busy gazing at his reflection in the silvery pool. He became thinner and thinner. He became weaker and weaker. Soon he knew that he would die. He looked down at the reflection in the pool and sighed. "I love you, love you, love you." High up in her mountain cave, Echo whispered, "Love you, love you, love you." The next day, the nymphs visited the pool. There was no one there. Narcissus was gone. His body no longer lay beside the water. In its place stood a lovely flower. It had white petals. They were as white as Narcissus's ivory white skin. It had a yellow cup in the center. The yellow cup was as yellow as Narcissus's yellow curls. The flower gazed down into the water and nodded its head in the breeze. Since that time, people have called the lovely flower Narcissus. And as for Echo, well, you can still hear her sad voice in the mountains. Still, she can only repeat the last few words of what people say.